Okay, here's my final demo for my 1012 project. I'm going to be splitting it into two parts just because of how my recording software works. It makes a little bit more sense because I want to show two different things. So we start off with a basic screen here. It's the same start screen for my midterm. We have some elements of 1007 here, that being, buttons, visual assets, start screens. As we head over, we have a store here, that we're a mercenary for hire. I'll leave it here in case you want to read it, but I'm going to move on for time's sake. But suffice to say, we are a mercenary. We've been hired to clear out the mine in a village from our longtime friend. And after going to meet the three sages, we see all of the loot that they have, and we start the game. So we can head over and talk to them. This is the sage Frank, and he warns us to be careful. And if we visit our last one, I have not fixed the text. Oopsie. But this is Bob. So from here, we head out into our town. And there is the first enemy in our story. It actually mentions that this enemy is following us because we came over from the item shop, or the general store, which is right here where the mayor lives. So I'm going to avoid talking to him for now just because there's some things that are going to come up if that happens. But there's a big, large map you're able to explore, various different shops, bridges here, and a little bazaar over there. So this is kind of giving some sense of narrative progression, and the trigger actually, where it prompts you that the mine's in trouble should give the player an indication that they need to look out for a mine. So if you head on up, there's kind of mountains over here. You go up the ladder, you'll go, oh, there's a cave, so like maybe there's a mine here. It doesn't really go anywhere there. Oh no, there's an enemy we have to go past. But what we can do is we can kind of bypass it. See if we trigger combat here. Hopefully not. Yeah, we can bypass it and go up here, kind of get to our cave this way. So if we head in the cave, there'll be a whole dungeon here, but this is the end boss. There's a big lich at the bottom that's causing a bunch of trouble. We're going to reset the game real quick. Again, there's our story. So, one of the things I've offered is that you actually need to talk to this unit to trigger him, so you can avoid him at the moment. Some of the trees don't quite work. If we head on up, like I said, there's two pathways. We could go around and loop through, or we could talk to this one and trigger combat. I'm going to walk around him because, why not? And then there's three up there, so it really tells you that, hey, this area is maybe not what you want to go to just yet. Be a really tough fight, so that you are really tunneled in to taking the one path. Let's trigger combat and show it off a little bit. So he won't let us get past. Well, we're kind of behind him. So as you can see there real quick, our AI actually attacked us. They did happen to miss, which is why it moved over to our attack. We're going to attack them back. Oh, and we've managed to kill them in our first attack. So they've died. And we get attacked again. However, they do miss. Health totals do update there. I missed. We're going to attack one more time. We did quite a bit of damage there. And we get to attack again. And it's died. This should transition back and give you a little victory. It doesn't quite do that, so I'm going to reset the game again. And I think that's all I have to show for this part. Okay, as I mentioned, this is going to be a part 2, just to be a little bit easier to talk about things. I've set our start room to our battle room, just so that we can skip right to combat whenever I want to talk about it, because that is what has taken nearly a month of time. And by nearly, I mean over a month of time now. I've worked on it for the last 16 hours straight. I'm going to remove a few things here that I don't need to talk about right now. Okay, so we have a lot going on with combat. Just briefly to talk about one of the experiences that I got the most out of. It's And I'm not trying to be harsh on myself here, but I had a moment of the Dunning-Kruger effect where I definitely thought I was better at programming than I was. And having tackled this, I realized that my skill set is still needing to be massively improved. And there we go. There's a bug with the AI where occasionally it doesn't have a target unit. I don't have an easy fix for that without redoing the entire code base, unfortunately. But yeah, a few things you can notice. I use sequences, actually. Let me bring that up real quick. Which is little animation changes to kind of trigger when things happen. These trigger different methods, or functions, sorry, that run, as well as broadcast additional statements, which are... I'm going to turn the music off real quick. Maybe. That triggers some additional statements with our combat unit parent. So what it has is a broadcast manager. Our battle controller. This is most of the heavy lifting. What this does is it checks for the messages that the sequence sends out, like the attack going out and units dying, units missing, and a lot of things trigger off of that. So it's kind of its own little mini state machine. Our player character as well has its own little state machine here. This basically moves from idle to attack to hurt to miss, and these play different animations, as you can see. Hopefully I can get it going a few times. As you can see, if you attack, you can cancel. Just to showcase that, you cannot target your own units, you can only target enemy units, and it does appear with a target box if you do. And as you saw, it played an animation, it played a response to getting hit, and if it happens to die, not only does it say unit died, but it fades out slowly, and I think that's a cool little feature. So going back to my state machine here, like I said, that's all the animation, that triggers a few other actions within it. We have a load of different stats and abilities on the character. This is a parent unit, which means that it is inherited actually by the character we're actually playing. And the only thing that this character has is our animation times. So we can theoretically create multiple characters and just set additional stats. So it's highly scalable. Back to the battle controller, there's a lot going on. As we create it, we have a load of different functions. We process death here, that's its own function kind of built in. This is just displaying text on the screen. We have our cleanup phase. This will memory leak if we don't destroy it. A lot of object-oriented programming came into play here. I'm sure a lot of people did, but just being able to kind of break up things into different events and activities. Our state machine here, this is the largest part of code that I have. It basically starts disabled, it initializes. We spawn some units in based on spawners in the room, which we could set via our creation code. That's how you kind of can set up different things, different combat scenarios, depending on which, depending on what has triggered it, you can feed it information and then spawn the units at an appropriate location, and then this will handle everything else. Kind of do a bit of a clever little trick here. If you notice with our game, the way I've had it set up is very Final Fantasy 1 inspired, but anything on this side of the screen, these units will be our units, and anything on this side of the screen will be an enemy unit. So that way we can kind of not have to actually worry about it and just tell the machine to know what's on one side and the other. Oh, perfect. Good combat there. So once it goes through start turn, checks everything there, heads down into a wait stage. There are so many things here to talk about. I don't think I have enough time, but suffice to say, once it goes through all the processes, it checks if if our allies are 0 or less, clearly we have lost, so we lose. If our enemies are 0 or less, clearly we have won, so we won. Otherwise, we're just going to loop back to the start. I think those are the most important things. There's a few other little messages here. Yeah. That's my demo. Thank you for watching.